Hello, this is Harry with Modern Telecom, here to train you on the Yealink T33 phones. Operating these phones will just require picking up the handset and dialing the either extension of the local staff member you want to call or a 10-digit number of a client you want to call. So after you've dialed the number, and if you've already picked up the receiver, you wait a few seconds and it will complete the call for you. If you're dialing hands-free style, then you would do something like this, dial the 3 digits, and then push the call button. Now it does it hands-free. Now one of the features you may want to do is to park a call or retrieve a parked call, and this would be in a scenario where you're moving to a different phone or wanting somebody else in the clinic to take over that call. So I'm going to have an incoming call come into this phone. I'm going to answer it. And now I'm going to park that call. There's 3 parking spots here. And I'm going to push one of them. Now what's done is it's kind of parked that call into this spot here, 407 park. Now on any other phones in the clinic, the light is flashing, so that caller could be picked up from any other phone in the clinic now. We could go to this phone, and we could retrieve that call, or put the call back. And we could go to another phone, retrieve that call, or put the call back into a parking spot. So this is a great way for moving calls around to different phones. Now I'm going to show you how to transfer calls to other people in the organization, other colleagues. So I'll simulate an incoming call into this phone. We'll answer it. And now we want to transfer this to another colleague. We'll push the transfer button here, and then we'll have to know the 3-digit extension of the colleague that we want to transfer it to. So for example, if we want to transfer this to extension 528, I could do transfer 528 and then push the blind transfer button. It says B-trans. It says that the operation is complete on the screen, although it's difficult to see with my phone, my camera here, but it has moved over to the other extension. Now another way to transfer would be an attended transfer. I'll show you that one now. We'll take that call, and instead of pressing the blind transfer button, we're going to push the call button first. So I'll walk you through this here. We'll go transfer, and then 527, and we're going to call. Now what's going to happen is the other colleague is going to pick up the phone, and they're going to have a conversation with you without the third party first, so that you can introduce the caller. Once the caller has been introduced and they say, yes, I'd like to have that call, you would then push the transfer button to complete the transfer. It says the operation is completed on the screen, and now your phone is no longer taking the call. The call has been transferred, and it's on the caller is now with the other person. Now let's suppose you needed to transfer this call, but you didn't know the extension number of the colleague, but you know their name, of course. So there is a directory where you can actually scroll and also type in the letters of the person's name. So I could, let's say I want to transfer this to Tammy. So I would go transfer, and then I would push directory. And now I could just start typing some letters in here, like T-A-M. There we go. It found her. So she's at that extension. So I can select her name and then hit blind transfer. And that's it. Now we've transferred that call over to Tammy. Now, if you're on the phone with a client and you need to put them on hold, how that's going to differ from parking is because that's only to be held on your phone and not transferred or ability to be picked up from any other phone. There is a hold button which will reveal itself on one of these 4 soft keys while you're on a call. So, for example, we'll have a call come in here. We're talking on the phone, and now this has changed and we see some extra options here. We see a hold button. So if we push this hold button, there's a pause button on the screen, and your line button here is flashing. You'll notice that the parking buttons on all the other phones in the clinic are not flashing, so this call cannot be answered on any other phone except yours. So that's called a private hold. So that client will stay on hold until you resume them. If you get call waiting on these phones, I'm going to show you how to just manipulate between the different calls that you get on call waiting. So for example, I'm going to have a call come in here. We'll answer this call, and then we're going to have another call come into that same phone. So it's indicating here that there's an incoming call coming in. So we can answer that call as well. And now what happens is we've got two calls. The first call we were talking to, that person got put on hold, and only the latest call is the one that we're talking to. We can see all the calls by using these up-down arrow buttons on the phone, and you'll see it reveals all the different calls that we're talking to. So that's the person we're talking to because the timer's running on it. And there's a big pause symbol on this person, so that's the person that's on hold. So at this point, we could actually resume this person's call. And all that did is it took the other person, put them on hold. So it just reversed them. We can go back up here, there they are, and we can now resume that call. And it'll just, so you don't actually have to put the call on hold. It's handling the hold for you. All you've got to do is just resume the call that you want, and it automatically knows to put the other person on hold. There's a great call log in the phone if you need to see the history of all the calls you've made or received. So you just push this button that says history, and it works by tabs along the top of the page, and up in the rows are all your calls. Now I've been doing a lot of test calls, so they're all to the same people, but if I move to the right, this is showing all the missed calls. If I move over here, this is showing all the placed calls, and this one is all the received calls. So they're all categorized as to what type of calls they were. And you can move up and down the list and sort through all the calls that you've placed or missed or received. And if you see somebody that you want to call back, you can just push the call button or pick up the receiver. You can also get into just a redial list by pushing this button down here, this recycle symbol. So if you push this, it gets you right into the calls that you've placed, which is otherwise known as the redial list. All right, if you've got some voicemail, then there will be an indicator on the phone. This red light up here will be flashing to indicate that there's voicemail, and you just need to push the mailbox button to access your voicemail.
You are calling your mailbox for the first time. To identify your extension, you may record your name. This recording will be used when someone reaches your mailbox or when the auto attendant redirects a call to your extension. To start recording your name now, press 1.
All right, so the first time you go into your voicemail, you'll be prompted with that menu. And you should do that. You should record your name, which is not a greeting. It's just your name. It's used by the system to when you're transferring calls, and the system will say, you are being transferred to Barb, and it'll be your voice that says your name. After you've recorded the name, stay on the menu with the phone. It'll walk you through the next step of recording a personal welcome message. That's the traditional, hi, I'm not here, please leave a message. If you choose to skip recording that part, then a system-generated welcome message will be provided. That's just a generic message that says, you've reached extension 5 to whatever, leave a message. Now, if you're going to be out of the office for a period of time and or in a meeting in your office and you don't want your phone to ring, there is a DND button here which stands for Do Not Disturb. If you push this, the red stop sign will appear in the top of the display. This will also indicate to reception that you're on Do Not Disturb because reception has a special phone that shows the status of everybody in the clinic, and on the reception phone, that light will start flashing red to let them know that you're on Do Not Disturb. So, and that's great if you don't want any transferred calls coming into you during a meeting. Just push it again to toggle that off, and now you can begin receiving calls again. Well, thanks for watching, and if you ever have any questions, you can dial 611 from any of our phones to call into our help desk, or you can email service@moderntelecom.ca.